Hello and welcome to my speed paint. This time around I recorded my entire screen instead of just doing that thing Procreate does, where it records just them brushy strokes. Cool concept. I can get caught up watching it myself, but I figured showing the entire screen might be better for anyone trying to pick up tips and tricks on how to use Procreate. I'm also going to be explaining my process as it goes along in this one. Alright, let's art! So there's this challenge on Instagram. I don't know if there's an end date. I guess the beginning was the new year. This ToonMe challenge challenges artists to draw half of their face in their art style. And it's been pretty cool to see the results of it. I already had a picture of me because for a convention I went to, they requested a portrait. Sometimes they let you get away with submitting a cartoon drawing of yourself, but they specifically requested they use your real face. I actually don't normally take pictures of myself. I used to do it a lot when I first started trying to break down and draw a realistic face as opposed to an anime or a cartoony face. Oh, you can see me applying the Loomis method here. This wasn't too different from when I studied the human face on anybody, so I kind of treated it as a study. I think my application of that circle was still a little off, but it helped me lay down and understand where the features were, so it did its job. Something I learned later on when drawing faces was all the different ways to draw a face. They're not wrong, but they still help the most when you already understand the structure of the human face. Like, before I did the Loomis method, I did that technique where you draw just a circle and you base the face off of that and have that be the stand-in for the entire skull. What I eventually learned is when I did that and didn't understand the planes of the face, everyone ended up looking like they're facing forward a lot because I wasn't taking into account the side view. I was just focused on making a good face that was looking straight forward or maybe 3/4. But when it came to drawing a dynamic head pose at different angles, it fell flat, which is why I picked up the Loomis method of drawing faces. Thanks to what Procreate has out right now, I recommend visiting their YouTube channel. It's really helpful. But the application of that side circle really helped me grasp and get a feel for the plane of the sides of the face, not just the front. And what I found is, now that I understand and can apply the different sides of the human face, I can go back to drawing that circle and understand when I'm putting down the structure, the rest of the skull, and how that makes sense into what I'm drawing instead of just making the front face look good. You know, come to think of it, I haven't drawn my own face in a pretty long time. It used to be all I did to try and get a hang of the structure of the human face. I get the idea from hearing that Disney animators would have this mirror in their little work studio, so that when they had to animate people talking or gestures or get an expression down, they could just use their own face as a model. And I just thought, oh, that's brilliant! Not having to ask strangers and friends to make certain poses and awkwardly asking if I can take their picture for reference later? Sign me up! And then the internet happened, and, well, that is just filled with all kinds of faces now. A lot of what I learned working with grayscale markers has really helped in rendering stuff this way in Procreate and Photoshop. You saw how I just used a airbrush thing to kind of give a general shape of what I'm going for, and then I just go smaller and smaller on them details. Start big, work your way down. That's how I learned how to render shadows and highlights. It's worked pretty good so far. I started teaching myself how to draw because I wanted to make a graphic novel. So a lot of my technique comes from the desire to make a comic book. I guess if you could call it anything, it's more like a sort of painterly, but mostly comic book style. The way I break down lighting and shadow. I don't know if you can catch how I put the layers together, but I try and start with the flat color. And I interpret flats as the color of something where light isn't so much directly shining on it, but definitely no shadow. And then from there you get highlights where planes of whatever you're drawing are more directly facing where the light's coming from. That's going to reflect more of that light. Just bounce right in your eyeballs. Ugh, that nose. Oh, and the cheek. Practically white. I think I eventually do that. I think I go back and put some white in there. Ever so slightly. But it's because of that you can tell it's round. It's not a harsh lighting for a bend. It's a round, nice soft shine. And then there's shadows. I normally break this down into two things too. There are the rolling shadows and stuff that happens just because the planes have shifted. You can see that around that smile cheek thing going on over there. And then you got stuff that's a bit more dramatic, like the nose and the inside of just the corner of the cheek there. I would almost call it a cast shadow. There's the shadows that happen because light can't reach it, and then there's cast shadows where light is just straight up being blocked because of another object there. I think if I was coloring the other side of my head, I'd be dealing with that more because there's definitely a cast shadow going on my shirt, but it looks like I only kind of deal with it maybe top of my hair, where my hairline is, and it looks like it was happening on my neck. Definitely with that shirt around the collar. Yeah. Like it's ever so little, but if that wasn't there, it would look weirdly flat. And that's not how clothes do. Clothes are on top. Yep, still just focusing on shadows right now. I've seen some people do highlights first, like the reflection of light first and then go to shadow. I find the dramatic dips and cuts of where light is not hitting helps define whatever subject I'm working on way better than starting with highlights. I guess it would all depend on the kind of feel you have for the picture, and if you're closer to a light source, there's going to be like more dramatic difference of highlight and shadow, how luminescent it is. But this seems to be a good default, at least for me. I'll have to play around more. Art is a journey. Alright, I was indoors, so I used a slightly yellow highlight. Oh, I don't know if I picked it up. There's some yellow bouncing off my shirt underneath my chin. That. Let's see. I don't know if I'll get to it in this, but another layer would probably be good for adding that. Remember back when I was giving myself some rosy cheeks? So I've noticed if I don't put a bit of red in certain places, people just kind of look like lifeless dolls. And what I've figured out is, what I've looked up. I'm not the first. But what I've learned is, there are certain places on the human body where blood vessels are closer to the surface. And if they're not there, that's what gives that feeling of you're looking at a plastic thing. Just this copy of what a person would be. Add some realism. That subtly tells the person looking at the photo, hey, there's blood pumping through this. It's alive. Oh, yep, back to the hair. As much as I treated the hair like its own mass, what makes it look wispy are the little hairs that don't quite go along with the mass. It's like the way it's a brush is a suggestion, and there's always those hairs that are like, never mind. I'm gonna do my own thing. Oh, I did add some yellow at the bottom! Yay! Good job, past me. Half fat from the future. Ah, yes, playing around with trapping. I like having a good outline to something, but to make it look softer, sometimes I change the color of it. Oh yeah, can't forget my Mexican heritage. I got them dots from my grandma, 'cause she's from Mexico. And yeah, okay, mom too. Mom's from Mexico. I guess I got it from my mom. Yeah, my mom did all that hard work. But my grandma gave me cookies. And there it is, my ToonMe contribution. You know, I'm still not sure how this started or who suggested that the art community do this, but you couldn't exactly ignore it in January. This is everywhere. You know what? It looked like fun, and it was fun, so I'm glad I did it. Hope you all enjoyed it, learned something, and or had it in the background just for funsies. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye!